This podcast is meant for general health information and is not meant to override any medical advice. All questions will be screened and not contain any personal information. If you want a private consultation, contact us via positivechoice.org, or you can contact your provider directly. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to the Positive Choice Wellness Podcast. My name is Melanie and I'm an exercise physiologist.
And my name is Kimberly and I'm a registered dietitian.
Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Melanie. How's it going?
It is going. It is a warm day outside and not
isn't that the
loving
truth?
that. I always share this with my classes. I came from Fresno, so I know what hot is. And this is not as hot as Fresno, I will say. I shouldn't complain, but I've lived in San Diego for over a decade now, and I'm going to complain because it shouldn't be this way.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thin-skinned now. Let me be angry and cranky about this. How are you doing, Kimberly?
That's amazing. Honestly, I feel the same way. The heat takes it out of me. Motivation plummets. Everything's harder.
Everything is harder.
So I feel that. But I grew up here. So, San Diego, when we get our little heat waves in the summer, feels like we've moved to the surface of the sun for a minute. But
yeah, even though I always have to remind myself, I look at my weather app on my phone and it says Fresno 115. I'm like,
perspective. Yeah.
I shouldn't be so upset right now, but I'm in San Diego. I left there for a reason.
We pay to live in San Diego for the weather. Yeah. No, I feel that. I have some of my best friends live in Fresno and I periodically look and I'm like, okay, can't complain.
You just know when you visit and it's not in the summer.
Exactly.
So Fresno aside, what brings you joy today, Kimberly?
Okay, so maybe it's the heat, but I was really struggling to come up with something that brings me joy. And what I landed on is I got a massage recently. So that has carried over in terms of bringing me joy. Because it was nice and relaxing and they're so delightful. And they're one of those self-treat things that I don't know that people do enough of. I sure don't. I get one maybe every 2 years. So, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they can be a little pricey. So that makes sense. So when you do get to do one, you're like,
Fair.
oh, it's so worth it.
Yes. It's like a sweet treat. Yeah, for sure. What about you? What is bringing you joy?
Well, so to start, I love cooking. I love baking. I always talk about food typically is what brings me joy. But today is not that. It is food related, but it's not the baking or cooking of it. It is the fact that I have a little sad garden on my deck. And I don't have a backyard. I have a deck. That's all I got, a 10 by 10 space. And so I planted jalapenos. And historically, I have the thumb of death where I just cannot keep plants alive. And it is just popping. Those things are growing like weeds right now. And I'm like, what did I do different? Maybe I'm ignoring it the right amount. But
You've forgotten it the right amount.
Right. And I think I have 25 peppers on that plant right now. And some of them are starting to turn red. And I was like, oh no. So I started clipping all the red ones. And I told my husband, I was like, and those are the more expensive jalapenos at the store. So we got the red ones now.
That's incredible. Well, good work. Your thumb of death is changing.
I hope it becomes a green thumb. I really do, but I will not hold my breath on that one. I think I was just lucky. Typically what thrives in my garden are cacti or succulents because you can just ignore those and they do fine.
They're so hands off. Yeah.
This is a first. So I'll take this as a win.
Wow. There's nothing like growing something yourself. It feels good.
Yeah, and they're very spicy. I've already had one, and they're like, we're gonna have a good time. So I'm happy. There you go. And if Kay was on this podcast, one of the dietitians here, she would also be happy hearing about how spicy everything is. So
yeah, we love Kay.
Well, unrelated to jalapenos specifically, but we are going to dive into something I think that just is relationship to food and our bodies and wellness. Something that we really haven't talked about either in a while or at least not in the last 30 episodes has been what works for weight loss. We talk a lot about all sorts of things, stress management, the types of foods we eat, muscle mass, strength training. We talk about so much stuff here, but I don't think we've ever just dove into what works for weight loss.
I know, which is kind of wild. So I'm glad you caught that. It's a good time for us to hit on it.
I think so, because there's so much information out there about what works and what doesn't. And I think it'd be helpful just to kind of get to the bottom of what has been shown in the research as far as what is effective for weight loss. And then something that's kind of cool, if anyone listening here was not fully aware, I'm sure a lot of people are, but if you were not fully aware, we are a facility that helps people lose weight. So where we work here at Positive Choice, that is what we do. So wouldn't it be fun to talk about what we do? Specifically,
yes, it's yeah, exactly. Especially because we're a little biased, but what we do is pretty great. I would say we have some.
I think so.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we like offer people to help them lose weight in a variety of ways. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to mention here too is just like, understandably, weight loss is hard. I think what is a struggle for a lot of people, I think, is just the fact that it's like you feel like you're alone. No one's there to understand what you're going through. And like, it's so hard and it sucks. And like, you have to not eat certain things. And it just feels kind of lame and not fun. And you feel like you're left out. And I recognize that as someone, a fellow person who's also struggled with my weight my whole life. I recognize that, yeah, weight loss is really stinking hard. And so that's why I think we could kind of dive into how we can make it easier for you, what works, and then, yeah, what we can do to help you in relationship to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that because it is just validating to hear that it's hard, because it is hard. It's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for most, I would probably say. And yeah. And I think part of the reason why it's so hard is we live in that instant gratification kind of era. And we need to remember that like sometimes like the most positive stuff for ourselves comes with some hard work too. Right. So like it's going to take some time to lose the weight we have gained. Right. But it will eventually happen when we are persistent. So anyways, but yeah.
Well, I think it's the perfect time to segue into then. I think one thing that really would be effective to kind of talk about is the fact that when we talk about weight loss, it has been shown pretty consistently within research, actually, that to lose weight at a slower pace is the best and most effective way to, do it.
Yes.
Not saying that you can't lose it rapidly. You absolutely can. But if they found that people tend to keep it off longer, the slower it goes, the slower the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're making more like life-changing, sustainable changes. I don't know. Wow. Confusing, but things that are going to last for life, right?
Yeah.
Versus
like,
short term.
Yeah, because like we didn't gain weight overnight, and like no one just woke up and went, "Whoa, what happened?" Like that's just not the reality of how we gain weight. And so obviously it takes time. Slowly over time, we start getting heavier and heavier. And then when we look in the mirror someday, we're like, "Oh no, I feel like I need to do something." And it could be for health reasons. It could be for, just physical reasons. It could be for mental health reasons. Like there's so many reasons people seek weight loss. So it's not always just like looking in the mirror going, "Oh no." It could just be like, "Oh no, I have pre-diabetes now," or "Oh no, my blood pressure's high," or "Oh no, it hurts to walk upstairs." Like there's so many things that could be impacted by having extra weight on your body. And so finding a way to make sustainable changes that are health forward, that benefit you and can kind of reverse some of these negative health side effects that come with maybe weight gain. And yeah, just the slower you lose weight, the more you can adhere to those changes that you're making. Because if you lose stuff rapidly, it doesn't necessarily teach you what to do differently in the future to prevent weight gain.
Right. Yeah. You're not necessarily changing your habits or like whatever, right. To get to that point. So that's why it can be not sustainable for the long term.
Exactly. Because there's a lot of change in habits and behaviors that needs to occur for you to be able to be successful with weight loss. Because that's the thing I see a lot of the time where people, think, "Oh, I can eat whatever I want as long as I move, I'll be fine and I'll lose weight." And the reality is you gotta kind of have to change what you're doing food wise too. It's not just like, "Oh, just fix one aspect of it and everything's fine."
Right. Exactly. I think that's sometimes a harder concept for us to acknowledge because you want it to be easy, right? Like moving our bodies more sometimes feels easier than making healthier food choices.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
I would agree there.
So, but I kind of consider it like, I don't know that this is like, I don't know, foundational, but I kind of like I sometimes tell my classes that it's like, I say the 80-20 rule, right? Like 80% of the time you're on your game doing what you should be, 20% of the time you get some wiggle room. But also when it comes to weight loss, it's, largely more our diet than it is our movement. Don't get me wrong. Movement is a huge piece of that puzzle. Like we can't be peak healthy selves and be couch potatoes. But the larger swayer of the equation there, roughly that 80% would be nutrition, right? So it becomes really important to prioritize it, focus on it.
Exactly. It's so easy to overeat, and it's actually really difficult to burn enough calories to burn off what you ate. Like it's very difficult to do the other way.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, we can go to that restaurant where their menu is like a book. It's the novel.
Their menu book, the book menu.
Yeah. And gosh dang, like you could eat 1,500 to 2,500 calories in 15, 20 minutes if you really wanted to. But you're the exercise physio. I mean, how long would it take us to burn that many calories realistically?
I mean, the average person, and it depends on what you do, actually. So as far as exercise goes, one, it's very difficult to calculate out how much you burn during activity because everyone is different and there's a lot of factors in play. And the best we got are fitness trackers, which are a rough estimate. They're still not necessarily accurate.
Exactly.
But let's just use walking for an example, since that's like the thing most people would probably consider as a form of activity. And if you were to power walks, we're talking at least 3 miles an hour or faster, getting your heart rate up, walking hard, you might burn in 30 minutes between 150 to 200 calories, depending on how tall you are.
Yeah. And
lucky for the tall folks, you burn more calories. So the good news is the bigger you are as a human being, the more you burn. But if you're only burning about, and let's just round up for the sake of being kind here, let's say you're burning 200 calories. Well, in an hour, you're burning 400. In 2 hours, you're burning 800. In 3 hours, you're burning 1,200. And you can see where I'm going with this. We still haven't reached 2,500 yet. Exactly. How many hours of walking do you want to do to justify that 2,500 calorie meal you just ate?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's a lot. It takes infinity more effort for us to burn calories than it does to consume them. So yeah.
And I also agree with you there too, in the sense of exercise is not the big calorie burner. And everyone always is like, what? You're an exercise physiologist. I'm like, I am. And I'm telling you this is knowing what I know about it. It is not the biggest player in the weight loss game. It really isn't. The biggest player is going to be diet. You really need to focus on what you're eating over how much you're moving in terms of shifting that scale. And I mean the scale of weight loss, not the literal scale, but shifting that scale in favor of weight loss over maintenance or weight gain, if that is your goal, right?
Yeah.
So really recognizing how much are you eating? Is it too much? That's a big part of this. And not saying you shouldn't exercise. I absolutely think we should be exercising a lot. It's just, it's going to provide us with other health benefits, which you can listen to literally any other episode of the podcast to find out what those are. But there's other health benefits you get from exercise. But if it's weight loss related, exercise is more weight maintenance oriented than it is loss, because it's really hard to burn enough calories with weight loss. It does help, don't get me wrong, but it's not like the crux of weight loss.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the be all or end all. It's a piece, but yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, other things that, work for weight loss is consistency. And being consistent. And that could mean eating relatively consistently throughout the day and not skipping meals, not having weird, I'm just not going to eat all day and then only eat for 2 hours in the evening. There's been some interesting decisions around and we're not going to dive into intermittent fasting, but basically intermittent fasting is you have a window of time you eat and a window of time you don't. And I've talked with people who have just some interesting windows that they choose to eat within, and they're struggling with that, because they're setting these really small 4-hour eating windows and they're spending 20 hours not eating. And, doing that every day, I can't imagine that's sustainable, but, I guess if that's what you want to do, but I feel like it's the consistency component that really matters more here rather than the times or whatever. Just be consistent with your behaviors.
Yeah, 100%. Our bodies love consistency. They really do. Whether that's the time of day that you're eating, right? Across your week, breakfast, lunch, dinner is moderately around the same time. Or you're saying, consistency across your day, there's a lot, there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle, I feel like, but gosh, our bodies love consistency. Yeah,
they do. They really, really do. And, it's just funny because I keep thinking immediately of our meal replacement program that we have, because our meal replacement program, seriously, it's 5 shakes a day. If you're you could do modifications of it, of course. There's super, that's a weird sentence. There's a lot of variety in what different offerings we have with it. Like you can have a couple of meals and then some shakes, or you can do like all shakes. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But consistency, that's what they have going for them. And it's really nice.
Yes, truly, because it's kind of set up for you. And that's some of the biggest compliments from patients that I've worked with on that program is they loved that the thought was taken out of it. You know, they have their 5 shakes a day at these times. It's like set up on their counter. They're good to go. And I've had people even in my family actually do that program. And that was their favorite part also. So the consistency piece is kind of set in there for you, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And I've only heard good things about the consistency piece. So like, yeah, it's same thing here. I've only ever heard good things about it. People love that. Just, I don't have to think. It's 5 shakes. It's easy, or bars or soups or whatever. Yeah. And, you know, if that's something you're seeking, like that is a program we have that has consistency. So that is very helpful. And we encourage exercise. It's run by medical professionals, like, and behavior experts. Like we have so many people working with you to make it successful for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a well-rounded program, and it's
right
from beginning to end. And if you're worried at all about the meal replacement piece, there is definitely a phase where they get you back onto full food. They're still working with you through that, and even once you're back on full food. And then I actually just worked with a patient earlier this week, one-on-one, who did that program, lost a ton of weight, has maintained her weight loss, and she swears part of it is because she's tied to our booster program. So at least once a month, she makes herself go to a class, check in with us. So we never drop you, honestly, after that program. You have to choose to remain tied to us in some capacity, but we have the support. It's there. You just have to take advantage of it.
Yeah. And I teach some of those booster classes. So it's very possible I know this patient. So
you probably do.
I probably do. But it's, you know, that is one program that I think would be very helpful for weight loss, if I were to be honest.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I mean, as far as what works for weight loss too, I mean, something just to add here is, you know, like if anyone's on like a GLP-1 medication, like we don't technically prescribe them for positive choice. That's not what we do. We just support you the best we can. But if you're on one of those medications, I know sometimes they just feel like they kind of like stop working. Like they're not working, but you're just like, why am I not making any progress? And you might need additional support. That's another thing our meal replacement program can do, is really give you the added support to continue along with you so you can continue to lose weight on these medications, just with a little extra help on the side. So another thing to throw out there into the universe for anyone who feels like they might be struggling. It's a consistency component along with a few other things we can kind of talk about as well. So, but yeah, you know, things that program can do. There's a lot.
There is a lot. And that's just nice to know for peace of mind. Because if you are taking GLP-1s and your weight loss, you know, stalls or slows or whatever, it can feel scary, right?
Yeah.
Or daunting, or like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? So it's nice to know that there is some more things we could do in addition to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, other things that kind of work with, work generally well for weight loss. I mean, we could talk about this all day because I love this, but exercise. I know we talked about how it's not the biggest calorie burner, but there's something else about exercise that I think we didn't really address, which is just the mindset that you get when you do it. So when I talked about the plethora of other benefits you get from exercise, and I said, listen to any other episode, well, I lied. We're going to talk about it a little bit here too. And the main thing is when you exercise, it has an influential effect on your brain where it can really help facilitate better decisions around food. So while you didn't just necessarily burn off whatever meal you're going to eat, you may choose to eat something healthier because you feel so good because you exercised.
I love that. So it gives us a little healthy mental shift, right? So we're like, I just did all that hard work. I'm going to nourish my body with fuel, as opposed to, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it's really true. I noticed it in myself where like I might feel one way, I go work out, I come home like, a salad sounds so good right now. And like, whoa, you know, like I do like some tasty food from time to time, but it's a quick decision that's just like, I'll instantly gravitate towards the better quality foods because I just feel so good. And
I love that.
It's just a huge benefit from activity that I think people often don't think about because, you know, we want to get some instant gratification. Yeah, give me those calorie burn. Come on. But,
yeah.
You know, if it helps influence how you choose to eat, I think that's still pretty significant.
Agreed. Totally agreed. And I think some of that too comes from like well, I just worked this hard. I just did, spent X amount of time moving my body or whatever, that now you want to choose to, again, fuel your body with purpose versus like, I don't know, counteract what you just did.
Yeah. Well, what also, and I'll let you take the lead here, Kimberly, as the dietitian, but speaking of fueling your body, what also works for weight loss?
Well, believe it or not, food. Food works great. I know. And there's like, I keep saying the word infinity today, I feel like, but there's infinity things we could talk about with eating when it comes to weight loss too. And a big piece I think you hit on already is that consistency, whether it's meal timing or whatever. There needs to be consistency with our calories, right? Like stuff like that. And I'm not saying you have to count calories to be successful.
You don't.
You really don't. But but for some people, it also really works. So I think there's an element where you're going to have to learn what works best for you and your brain, or what sets you up for the most success in terms of like, maybe it's the accountability. If you need a little extra accountability, be tied to one of our programs or track your food or both, right? Something like that. But gosh, I don't know. My brain kind of exploded when you said that. I feel like there's so many pieces of nutrition that are like so important to highlight. But I really would say that 80-20 rule is a big piece for me. Like 80% of the time you're doing what you know you should be. 20% of the time you get some wiggle room, because eating should still be fun, should still be pleasurable. You need to find something that you can do for the rest of your life versus something that's just going to work right now. We want it to be ideally, like I say, something forever, Yeah. It's got to be sustainable.
Now, something I kind of want to piggyback off of, because you kind of mentioned like just the food choices you make, but something I think would work with weight loss is protein.
Yes. Oh, lo and behold, that's such a good point. Thank you for saying that. The nutrients we pick can make us more satisfied for longer or not, right?
I also just feel like protein's kind of like the hot topic right now. So that's why I wanted to bring it up as well.
It really is.
Protein is good.
It is good. We need it. We need protein. Yeah. I don't know that we need to drown ourselves in it, but we definitely need protein. I am an advocate for eating protein, with every meal and snack. I do think it is important. I'm not a huge like protein supplement fan, I'll be honest. I think they're okay in a pinch, or if you're going to be out and about all day and you need to bring something with you or whatever. But when we start dipping our toes in the supplement waters, that's when it's easy for us to overdo it as well.
You're talking like specifically protein supplements that are just protein, like powdered proteins.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I'd throw protein bars into that same category. Not a large fan of those. But yeah, protein. Okay. So obviously we need it. Keeps us fuller for longer, helps us maintain muscle mass, right? Like all that good stuff. So we definitely want to eat it, like I say, a little bit, at least roughly every time we eat. But I would also throw fat in there. So fat is actually a really good one for us too. Also keeping us fuller for longer. We just want to be more mindful of our fat portion sizes because they're a lot more calorically dense, meaning we don't get as much volume, right? We don't get as much bang for our buck there. So when it comes to any kind of fat, the oils or the nuts, the seeds, the nut butters, whatever, we need them. Just be mindful of how much you're grabbing because those calories can sneak up on you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, moderation is key, basically, is what I'm picking up from this conversation. Just don't go overboard, like there's a lot of stuff coming out for people who are like really pushing protein consumption, and people are like eating a ton of protein, and you really don't need as much protein as you don't have to eat your body weight in protein. Like that's just excessive.
Right.
We need protein, but like not so much protein that's literally all you eat, because that just becomes too much.
Right.
Same with fat. But yeah, being mindful of how much are you consuming food wise? And, another thing I'll add here, just because we're on this topic, is like we do offer another program, Healthy Balance, that if you're a Kaiser member, it's covered. So you don't even have to pay for it. And it is like a full food weight management, health, and lifestyle program. And if you want to learn more about how those things work and like how much to eat of them, that is kind of the class that will really go over that. And both Kimberly and I are educators for that program. So we're fully aware of what's involved in that class, but I personally love it. And I think it's just such a great educational experience for anybody who wants just to learn nutrition stuff that maybe you just never really got exposed to.
Yeah, 100%. Or maybe you forgot about it over time, or you just need a refresher, or sometimes even if you feel like you know everything, hearing it from somebody else just hits you different. It resonates differently, So
yeah,
obviously I'm biased because like you say, we teach the program, but I love that one as well. I think it's well-rounded. And I just think it helps a lot. You get a little of course, we emphasize nutrition in there and keeping blood sugar stable, but also, movement and sleep and stress. You kind of get a whole shebang there.
Yeah, they give you a lot of different topics to go over. So yeah, it's a very well-rounded course, and anyone can take it. You don't have to be a Kaiser member, but if you do want to take it and you're not a Kaiser member, it costs money. So it's like I think $160, but
I think you're right.
It's 16 weeks, so it's only $10 a week. It's not bad. And just wanted to extend that as like another program we offer that does also work for weight loss. Yeah. But to piggyback off of that class is something that I say in that class all the time is, know what else works for weight loss?
Ooh, what?
Not being a perfectionist.
Ooh, I love that. Yes. Okay, good. Tell us more.
Well, there's, I shall. No, there's this, I think it's like this mindset that we have to be the perfect little weight loser and do everything perfect, eat the certain amount of things exactly the way they're supposed to be, and perfect this and perfect that, and move and do this and manage this. And it's so overwhelming. I think sometimes we just kind of fizzle out and just can't. It's just so much to be super perfect with.
Yeah.
And the average person can't do all those things perfectly. Like that is really hard to do, and it's exhausting to be perfect all the time.
Yes.
So
it's draining.
Part of what's important, yeah, exactly. And like part of what's important to recognize when it comes to being successful is you're also allowed to live your life and enjoy things from time to time. And I'm a huge advocate for that because diet culture really forces us to be restrictive. And that's how you can tell if you're on a diet, is if it's telling you can't have certain things, and it's very restrictive in what you can or cannot have. Comparatively, when you're trying to change your behavior and lose weight, you can still enjoy like a piece of pizza or some ice cream. It's just not happening every single day. Like you get it once, maybe twice a week, and you can enjoy it, love it, move on with your life, and you got to have something delicious, but it's not like the only thing you consume every day, basically. You can have, like you're saying 80-20 earlier, but like, it's the types of foods you're choosing, and perfectionism is not having to force yourself to move when life is chaotic and maybe you have a lot of going on and is stressing out over when you're going to get your exercise in. Just accept that every day is a different day, and you might have to make adjustments to what you're doing to accommodate your day, and don't stress if it's not perfect.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. And to your point, I feel like what you're saying here is like mindset is a really big piece of the weight loss puzzle. It kind of reminds me of that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe more than a big piece, right? It reminds me of that quote. I don't know who said it, but whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. It's so much of our success starts or ends really right in our minds. So working on that becomes really important because, again, to your point, we have to give ourselves grace. I mean, we're human beings, so we're gonna not be perfect all the time. And anyone that I know that is like ultra strict with their eating is also not like a really pleasant person to be around, I think that there's some lack of joy there, So
yeah.
I think it's important to know that like when you're putting in the hard work, when you're putting in that 80%, the 20% is not going to derail all that hard work that you then put in,
It absolutely won't. And that will circle back to me reiterating mindset, I think, in a different way, because I do think the mind really, truly is a powerful part of this. And I use this example because it's true. Like we've all heard of the thing called the placebo effect, where you tell someone they're taking something or doing something and they're getting a benefit for it, and then they manifest the benefit somehow. And they haven't actually taken a medication or done anything that would technically make that benefit happen. But the mind is so powerful, it's kind of manifesting that way, right? And it kind of solidifies how powerful our brains are. And that's why I'm such a stickler with how we use language around what we're doing and food and the way our thinking is around stuff. So as far as what also works for weight loss is just not being so rigid in your thinking, not hoping that, like no one will know that we snuck some food or cheated or whatever you want to call it. Like, I hate that word, but like being kind with yourself and just being okay with deviating from the plan and adjusting accordingly in your diet for the day or how you eat for the day to make up for something if it goes off the rails, and not shaming yourself if it did go off the rails, because we all know, I think at this point, that shame and guilt, they don't always come out positive in the end there. Like you can only rely on shame and guilt for so long before it won't work anymore.
Yeah. And it ultimately just starts to wear and tear you down. You start to like really believe the worst thoughts you think about yourself, which just makes us want to like,
truly,
I don't know, hibernate sometimes, but yeah, I agree. And I think a big piece of that is like when you notice you've slipped up or extra splurged or whatever, it's really getting back on track as soon as you catch it, as soon as you realize it, versus like, oh, you know what, I'm going to wait until Monday, or, it's the end of the year, I'm going to wait until the 1st, something like that. It's about getting back on track as soon as you can with something tangible, even in that moment. Like, I don't know, sit down and stand up out of your chair 10 times, but you know what I'm saying? Just get back on track.
Exactly. Don't let it get you down. Don't let it make you sad about it, blah, blah, blah. Like that.
Right.
It's easy to do. It's very easy to do. But like, here's an example, let's say you're at some like work party for someone's birthday. And we all know what happens at work parties for birthdays. There's usually a dessert that is served that has candles on it, like a cake or a cupcake. And I've had this happen to me personally where like I had no intention of getting any cake. And like before you know it, there's a plate in your hand that you don't know how it got there. And you didn't serve it to yourself. Someone handed it to you and then walked away. And now you look like a jerk because you're like, well, I don't want to eat this, but it's in my hands and I feel rude. And now I feel obligated. And then you eat it. Right. And this has happened to me. So I know this. And so when we get in circumstances like that mindset of, well, I already screwed up. I had that cake. I guess I could just do whatever I want for the rest of the day. I mean, you could, or you could say, well, I had cake, was not on the plan. I already had lunch, but I haven't had dinner yet. What can I modify with my dinner to make it work because I had this piece of cake? Like maybe I won't have the carb or the starch or whatever I was going to have with my dinner because I had cake. Or, maybe I'm going to make more of a salad instead, There's all sorts of ways to course correct before it becomes detrimental. It's just taking that mindset portion out of it of like, well, I screwed up, I guess I might as well continue, that all or nothing thinking.
Yes, I love that because it's true. Often we're like, you know what, this day's already messed up. I might as well finish strong and like whatever, order out or whatever and start over later. But I love that the course correct, making it immediate, right? Next choice. How can I make it a good one?
Yeah. It is not the end of the world if you eat a piece of cake. It's not the end of the world.
It is not. And as a matter of fact, sometimes it's healthy. Sometimes we need it.
Yeah.
It's just the one piece, right? Versus the whole cake.
But I do truly agree with that. Like, let yourself splurge from time to time. Allow yourself those goodies. As I said earlier, it's crucial. Like, unless you've never eaten anything delicious like that ever in your life. And so like eating a piece of cake is new for you, which I'm pretty sure no one really has had the experience at this point, but you never know. But like, unless you've never eaten those foods and you could say no, because you've never had it, don't deny yourself something delicious all the time to the point where you get agitated with yourself. Like, you shouldn't be doing that to the point where you're like, I can't ever have this again. Like, you absolutely can. Yeah. But maybe you go out and get it in what I would say, quote unquote, a controlled dosage, where you go buy a singular slice of cake from a bakery versus the entire cake or something, right? Like, you can have these things in a controlled way and still enjoy them. So being okay with that, and you can be successful. Plan for it.
Yes, absolutely. You can still absolutely be successful as long as you plan, for sure. I love that.
So any other thoughts you want to add to what works for weight loss here, Kimberly?
I don't know, other than I feel like we hit on a lot of good stuff, to be honest, but
oh yeah, we talked a lot of stuff.
Right. But check out Positive Choice, because really, truly, that's what we're here for. And we care about you as people. Okay. So come to Positive Choice because we want to help change your life. And if you need tools, resources, and extra assist to do that, that's literally why we exist. So, even just check us out on positivechoice.org. See what's there that's available to you. But, I don't know. I think we're pretty great.
I'm not biased, but we're pretty awesome. But yeah,
Exactly.
I agree. Check out the website. If you think anything resonated with you, please check out our website because there's so many opportunities there just to see what we have going on, what you could explore, our different options and programs available to you. But unfortunately, though, it's about that time.
That always happens.
I know. I hear it. Time. It moves.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we must go. And I appreciate all of you who are listening. Just remember, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you check out our website, positivechoice.org. You can also watch this episode on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, feel free to comment below. But with that being said, until next time, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey everyone, it's Melanie. If you've ever felt like staying on top of your health and wellness feels a little overwhelming, you're not alone. Maybe you're trying to find your footing, or maybe you just want a little inspiration to stay on track. Either way, we've got something for you. At Positive Choice, we know the health world can feel overwhelming, with new trends popping up every day. So that's why we created our Booster Seminars, a monthly lineup of workshops, classes, and support groups designed to keep you informed, inspired, and on track. From intermittent fasting and label reading to managing emotions, Tai Chi, and even gratitude practices, there's something for everyone. And the best part? You can join in person or online, whichever fits your life best. Offerings can change every month, so there's always something new to explore. It's just $90 for a 6-month membership. Or free if you're a part of our meal replacement program. Are you ready to dive in? Visit positivechoice.org/boosters to check out this month's schedule and sign up today.